Well, everyone, it's me again, Richard here at Kelvin Wazoo, doing another video, two in one day. But I thought I should try and catch up with some of the things that I would like to do. I mean, I've had some projects in the works here. And this one, was kind of an unscheduled one. And I'm going to talk about the car seat headrest release known as Disjecta Membra. Now, I don't have, a photo, a copy of anything from, Disjecta Membra. I just got, this here from a Nervous Young Man. And also, I was thinking, wow, this release used to be on Bandcamp. I thought for sure I saw it on Bandcamp. But then when I checked, it's not there anymore. So, I don't know what happened to it. And, the reason that it kind of prompted me, or that I was prompted to do this particular video, was that somebody left a comment on my very long video where I really got into how to leave town and some real deep dives into a couple of the songs on that release. And they asked the question, what did I think about Disjecta Membra? And, I hadn't listened to it. And so I went to Bandcamp to check it out, and it wasn't there. And I really, am I like, making things up? Didn't it used to be among his releases in Bandcamp? So anyway, I did find a video that has the entire release, in one video on YouTube. And so I gave it a listen, and then I, looked up the lyrics, and there's some good stuff on Disjecta Membra, but there's also some other stuff that's kind of, it's okay, but it just, doesn't strike me as being very strong. And it's kind of interesting with the title, Disjecta Membra. It's a Latin phrase for scattered limbs or scattered fragments. Generally it's used often in references to literature and poetry and, manuscripts that have been discarded, that may have received some attention in some work, but they end up just being discarded. It also, so it's the remaining fragments of these creations. But also, Disjecta Membra is also a reference to the scattered limbs, such as in the wake of a battle on the battlefield and body parts laying around. So it can also be a reference to a violent event or something that was filled with turmoil and chaos, and the Disjecta Membra is what remains. So the title seems to be appropriate because many of these songs Will had plans for them to be on either Twin Fantasy or potentially on Nervous Young Man. But they didn't make it to those releases for whatever reason, and he substituted other songs in them. And there are also bits and fragments from material that did show up on Nervous Young Man, on Monomania in some cases. So there are, some connections in there. So a song, just a quick song by song in my thinking, my reactions to the songs. Ironically, the recording opens with a song called End Piece, and it is a instrumental track, and it is also it was the last part of Los Borrachos, which was featured on Monomania and then also showed up on Teens of Style. So when you're listening to this instrumental, you can tell by its style that this is an ending to another song. But, that is how the recording opens up. Then the next one is Please Mr. Pilot. This has got a nice pop melody, very simple structure. And I love the line in there, why should I bare my soul to strangers when I never bared my soul to you? The song seems to be about, kind of an homage or a reminiscence about somebody who died, and, him not really wanting to be at the funeral, and he's talking to this Please Mr. Pilot to take him away from that. Then we get another song that's just it's simple and kind of nonsensical. It's called 2:24, referring to the time, I believe, the 2 p.m., 2:24 p.m. And it's a song about band practice and, people, what's going on at 2:24 and how things were looking at 2:21 and, that kind of thing. It's just a very simple, kind of nonsensical song. It is, kind of Disjecta Membra when you think about it. Then comes a song called The Hard Part. And it's a kind of a monotonous and droning song by intention, I think. He's designing it to be this way, about a breakup. And there are a couple lines in there where I love the way Will lets his voice crack, where he's saying he's too nervous for girls, he's too nervous for boys. So it's kind of a song about it seems to be a song kind of like someone is on the verge of a breakup, and he's trying to be reassuring by saying, don't worry, this part is the hard part, things will be better afterward. It does musically also contain some homages to Twin Fantasy, like the opening My Boy, and then also from Monomania. Now the next song is actually a really good song. I really, really like it. Sound Man. So Will is singing about the sound man, the guy who runs the soundboard during a show and all that. It's kind of this hat tip, to the sound men everywhere who try and do their best, and sometimes they just don't get it right, because he's also singing about how his monitors are all messed up and everything. And then the closing of the song is also really, really quite good. I like Sound Man. That's a very, very good song. I also like the next one, not quite as much as Sound Man, but it's Napoleon, March into Russia. And this was was going to be on Nervous Young Man. In fact, it was supposed to be the closer or the penultimate, so to speak, song on Nervous Young Man. But that got scrapped, and then it got replaced with Knife in the Coffee. It's a very, very strong song. I like it very much because of the way he uses Napoleon's march on Russia, as a metaphor for what's going on in the song. And also, he mixes in with it the World War II battles, I think, or it could have been World War I, with the scorched earth policy that the Soviets used, that they would just burn everything after a battle. It's a very strong song. I really like that one. Then we got Drunk on a Work Night. To me, this is a hilarious thing. It's not really a song. You've got all this like noise, just grinding away, and it's this. There's the narrator, is Will, but it's this character that he's singing into the song of this young man being lost in his town. He's lost in this town. He's having a terrible time. He's trying to find his friends. All the streets are one way, going the wrong way. He can't, he's just like, and he's just raging and raging and raging. And then there's like this next second group of lyrics he's like chatting up somebody who's like tweaking, and he's like, "Oh my God, you're on meth. What? Why? You know, here we were hitting it off, and you're tweaking. You know." And it it is definitely a fun song with all that rage, and then it's surrounded by all this lo-fi noise. I like it. Now, I'm not sure if it's my favorite song on here, but it's just, I really, really like what Will did with the next song, and that's called Love Me Too Much. And to me, this is a brilliant homage to doo-wop. And it's so over the top. It's so achingly trite, the singing and the lyrics. It's just really, truly brilliant. Yeah, Love Me Too Much is a good one. This is followed by the Dream Encounter on Smoke Mountain. And this is really, it's kind of, this is an anachronistic song in many ways for Car Seat Headrest. It's very frenetically intense. It's very experimental. In fact, so far of what I've listened to in the Car Seat Headrest catalog, I can't think of another song really like it. It's got some really soaring and intense guitars, as if a bunch of freaks got together. They ate peyote and they vacillated between experiencing sublime bliss and then intense anger, going back and forth, back and forth. This chaotic tribal dance around a huge pyre in the dead of night. And then in the morning, you know, they come down, or the singer, you know, come down and descends from the mountain. Just really, really, really interesting. I like it. But as I say, I really can't think of another. It's very unique in terms of the Car Seat Headrest catalog. So then the next song is going to be Sinner. And this is a very dark, nihilistic song. And the guitar rhythms remind me very much of Slint. You know, and I was just trying to think what Slint song it was reminding me of. And it could be Nosferatu Man. Or it could be Washer also. Both of those songs from Slint, Spiderland is what I'm talking about. This song reminds me quite a bit of that Sinner. So yeah, the whole guitar style of playing in this is very much like that, and it's a pretty good song. But as I say, it's really dark and nihilistic. Now comes a return to more of the pop formula with the song When Will My Man Come? And it's also got a very interesting synth hook in it. Its ending is really, it's got this really big and very pompous guitar ending. And then the drums and cymbal also at the end, man, really, really make a great sort of bracketing or punctuation to this very big pompous guitar that's going on. But yeah, it's much more of the pop hook formula, and it's good. It's pretty good. And then the next song, again, we're sticking very much with the pop, but here it also has kind of an interesting twist. The song is High Life, and in my note I wrote down, sounds like the Hollies after doing a spike and they're about to nod off. It's, and then there's this reference to 40 ounces, and the song is essentially dealing with the aftermath of a house party. Yeah, it's pretty interesting song. Now, the rest of the songs on the album start to get weaker, in my opinion. For example, the song AC, to me, is kind of a throwaway song. I mean, it didn't really leave much of an impression with me. I didn't write much down about that because it really didn't do much for me. And then we've got the song If Not, Then Oh Well. And it's a very snappy, popish song. But what it's doing is it's playing with this conflict between desire and apathy and indifference. So it's like a song about someone who lacks the willingness to commit. More like they're just seeking to fall into something as a matter of convenience. And so, in the refrain, if it isn't going to work, then oh well. There's just no commitment. There's no, there's no emotion. It's just kind of like a song about someone superficially trying to have their physical needs being met with somebody else. The ending of the song, to me, is very reminiscent of Led Zeppelin from In Through the Outdoor. Also, it's got a little bit of an edge of, kind of reminded me of the war on drugs. So musically, it's very interesting, but it does seem to be a bit anachronistic with the rest of the song. Now, Memories is another good one. This is a cover of a Leonard Cohen song, but some of the lyrics have been changed to create a new story. Well, it did. And it's filled with all kinds of teenage angst and lust and nihilistic love. This guitar solo in this song is really, really amazing, really strong. It's like scorchingly exquisite, if that can make any sense to you. And also, I think Will does a really good job capturing Leonard Cohen's snarl in his voice when he's delivering these lines. It's just, because when you listen to Leonard Cohen, sometimes when he's singing those words, he's letting you know that he's just nailing you. He's reading you the riot act. And Will does capture that really, really well with this song. The next two songs, they really didn't do much for me. I didn't even write anything down about their impressions. The one, KS, for Kansas, it just didn't seem to do much for me. And same with the ending, Unfinished Pain Star, which is another reference to, Pain Star, which was on Twin Fantasy, I believe. So yeah, those are the songs that are in Disjecta Membra. I am surprised that it was removed because I swear it was on Bandcamp. And I would buy it so I could download and burn a CD, because I do like some of those songs, and I would rather listen to them that way than to listen to them on Bandcamp or on YouTube. So who knows? Maybe they'll show up again or whatever. But yeah, so I took a look at Disjecta Membra, and I think it is kind of appropriately titled. I mean, there are some songs on there that, that were worth keeping, I think, in packaging some way. Perhaps as singles or, maybe an EP. I mean, it's funny with so much of Will's material, like in Bandcamp or something, it's going to be identified as a EP, but it's an hour and a half long recording. That's not an EP, unless he's being ironic about what extended play means. But anyway, yeah, there's some pretty good songs on it, but there's also some songs on Disjecta Membra that, they're Disjecta Membra. So leave a comment about your thoughts on this down in the Down Under. I appreciate it, because it was a comment on another video that led me to listening to this recording. So yeah, say something down below. And as always, remember to pray for the people inside your head, for they won't be there when you're dead.